Montague, a number of our friends at the YMI are serving in places that are blessed to have a mixed group of youth, whether it's socioeconomic
Mhm.
diversity or racial diversity. This is even taking us into a different area where there's a lot of neurodivergence and diversity. So, but a diverse youth group, critical storytelling is such a great tool, and it's something you spoke about in your time with us the other day. How would someone in a setting that is diverse really take a next step or a first step even in bringing critical storytelling to a group that is very different and brings a lot of diversity?
Okay. Well, in the book Church in Color, uh, I highlight the ways young people are often trying to share stories, trying to share stories from their lives or stories from school or like their neighborhood, stories connected to questions they have about what's going on in the world. And I found that young people are often giving little hints at the beginning of a story, whether it's through joking or whether it's through certain forms of play or whether it is through the beginning of a story, just to see what a youth worker might say if they heard like the beginnings. And I found that young people often end up pulling back because they're finding that there's not an awareness that that's what they're doing. And so I would say the first step is to just allow yourself to be open, say, okay, well, a big part of what we need to do if we're going to embrace beloved community is we're going to have to welcome in some stories and help young people dig deep into their stories and dig deep into the stories in the community. So, out of that recognition that we need to do that, let me first just allow myself to be open to recognizing the moments that young people might be already trying to offer these stories or open the door to them. It's not going to be very helpful to say, like, okay, everyone, we're going to do something called critical storytelling. Like, that's not going to be very effective. Critical storytelling, sometimes in the world of academia, we develop language to name some important things, but it doesn't mean we have to always take that language into the field. Half the time, it's really naming things that happen in much more organic ways. And so I would say the first thing to do is just pay attention. After you get a sense, you're like, okay, I'm ready to begin this path. Just listen. Listen for a while, you know. Take note of it. Ask questions even. You could even say like, "Oh, I see you joking about this thing that happened in the neighborhood or this thing that happened in your life. You want to tell me more about that?" You know, simple. It doesn't have to be, like now we have to create a 10-step plan to begin this process. Just begin by knowing that it's important and choosing to listen. That's what I would say is the first step.